of the Master. The words of the Master, we're dealing with the last day of Yeshua. Seems like it's been many days, but it's only been one day. It's only been a few hours that we're looking at. And really, since we began this, it's only really been John's telling of this particular time, for the most part. And so, when we look over at this portion of the last day of Yeshua, we're on part 7 now, and we're still dealing with this nighttime portion after the Passover dinner that the disciples ate with Yeshua, and he's been speaking to them at length about what is going to happen and what they should expect moving forward. And so now it's reached all the way up to a point where Yeshua has kind of stepped away from his disciples. He's no longer speaking directly to them. He is in their earshot, but in prayer. And so if we look at John 17, we might as well just read John 17 and then we'll go back and discuss. John 17, we could just go, we'll probably just read through the whole thing. If we start at verse 1, when we look at Yeshua as he goes into prayer on this night.
John chapter 17. Yeshua said these words and lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Father, the hour has come. Esteem your Son, so that your Son also might esteem you. As you have given him authority over all flesh, that he should give everlasting life to all whom you gave him. And this is everlasting life, that they should know you, the only true Elohim, and Yeshua Messiah, whom you have sent. I have esteemed you on the earth, having accomplished the work you have given me that I should do. And now esteem me with yourself, Father, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. I have revealed your name to the men whom you gave me out of the world. They were yours, and you gave them to me, and they have guarded your word. Now they have come to know that all you gave me is from you, because the words which you gave me I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known that I came forth from you, and they believe that you sent me. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, but for those whom you have given me, for they are yours, and all mine are yours, and yours are mine, and I have been esteemed in them. And I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you. Set apart, Father, guard them in your name, which you have given me, so that they might be one, as we are. When I was with them in the world, I was guardian over them in your name, which you have given me. And I watched over them, and not one of them perished except the son of destruction, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now I come to you, and I speak these words in the world, so that they have my joy completed in them. I have given them your word, and the world hated them because they are not of the world, as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the wicked one. They are not of the world, as I am not of the world. Set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, I also sent them into the world. And for them I set myself apart, so that they too might be set apart in truth. And I do not pray for these alone, but also for those believing in me through their word, so that they all might be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, so that you too might be one in us, so that the world might believe that you have sent me. And the esteem which you gave me I have given them, so that they might be one as we are one, I in them and you in me, so that they might be perfected into one, so that the world knows that you have sent me and have loved them as you have loved me. Father, I desire that those you have given me might be with me where I am, so that they may see my esteem which you have given me, because you loved me before the foundations of the world. O righteous Father, indeed the world did not know you, but I knew you, and these knew that you sent me. And I have made your name known to them, and shall make it known, so that the love with which you love me might be in them, and I in them, as well as
Okay, very good. So let's go back up to the top here and look at a few things that we see over here. First of all, kind of overarchingly, we see that Yeshua, in this moment of prayer, there's essentially three parts to this prayer. He prays for himself. He prays for his disciples, and he prays for those that will believe what the disciples say. And the disciples are saying what he said, and he's saying what the Father has said. And so we kind of see that. I want to talk about specifically a few things here. If we look at verse 1, where he says the hour has come. Esteem or glorify, so that your Son also might glorify you. It's interesting when we look at Yeshua in his flesh. Yeshua, the man. We know that we're looking at Yeshua, the man, first of all, because he's not dead. He hasn't died. He's still living. There is this physical separation, distinction, differentiation between Yeshua and the Most High. He, as a man, is speaking to the Father in heaven. He, the Son, is not in heaven. He's in the land of promise, in this garden of Gethsemane, and he is about to be captured by people. And so we see something that I think is interesting. I think that I'm trying to think of a kind of a nice way to say exactly what I'm thinking. I can't do it. It's hard. People, contrarians look at just specifically this, interaction and say, how can Yeshua be Elohim? And he's praying to Elohim. Yes, he's praying to himself. Is he schizophrenic with multiple personalities? I think that, I think that it's important for us to be able to understand that within the time frame of Yeshua's physical life on earth, he carries out a existence that is different than any other point in existence, because he's physically separated from the Most High. And so I think that when people look at Yeshua in his state of existence that he was in what we see in the Gospels, I think that it can be confusing, and it causes people to not think about things properly. And I think that what Yeshua is doing here, it helps us to see, number one, that there is this distinction. There is this thing that has happened, that there is this state of existence that Yeshua is functioning in currently, this idea of Father and Son, this whole thing here. But he's helping us to see that although we have that situation, there is in fact a state of being, a state of existence that predates that existed before this, and soon coming. The hour is actually now here, as he's saying that there's going to be a return back to the way that things were. But I want to look at, if we look at verse 1 there, the scriptures version says esteem. Look at that word there, esteem. The King James, what's the King James say? Glorify. Let's look at that. Glorify. I want to look at a few things there. Glory, dignify, honor, praise, worship. This word is interesting because it kind of, we weren't meaning to talk about these things, but they kind of correspond with one another. If we look, let's go over to the word study of that word there. Let's see here. Let's go down to where you see Roman numeral 3. Hold on, which one are you looking at? Are you looking at go to 1391. Yes, very good. Now go to Roman numeral 3. Okay, right there. Okay, so that right there says basically in the Bible, it refers to the recognition, honor, or renown belonging to a person. Which is interesting because when we talked about the idea of honoring your father and mother, it had to do with the renown belonging to your father and your mother. And so Yeshua is saying that glorify your son so that your son might also glorify you. Bring to me your son the honor, the recognition to me so that I can bring the honor, recognition to you. It says there in this little third section here, it says when we read Romans 3:23 that they come short of or lack the glory of Elohim, it means they are not what Elohim intended them to be. They lack his image and character. They don't have the renown or the honor that belongs to a person. And so when we think about glory, it has to do with kind of the intrinsic qualities that exist with a thing or individual. In this case, we're talking about the Most High. Let's go down to what is that? 5, 6, 7. Go to 7. Roman numeral 7.
On the same thing?
Yes. That's 5, 6, go to 7. Okay, there it says the New Testament idea of doxa, or this word that's translated as glory, is represented in the Old Testament by the word kavod, which is what we was talking about with the root idea of heaviness, i.e. weight, and metaphorically worthiness. And so when it is ascribed to men, it refers to splendor or reputation. And so when the glory of Yahweh is spoken about, it refers to the revelation of Elohim's person, nature, presence to mankind, sometimes the physical phenomena. And so, most famously when we think about kavod in the Hebrew is when Moses says to the Most High, show me your glory, your kavod, your presence. And the Most High is like, my presence is too magnificent for you to be able to experience. You can't see me. It's too heavy for you. There's too much light and goodness that exists in looking at me outrightly. My presence is too much for you to stand. No man can see my face and live. But I can flash past you. I can cover you with my protective capabilities, and you're able to see the residue of what was there as I go by. But all this has to do with the idea of the honor. There's so much reputation, and there's so much renownedness and awesomeness that's involved in the presence of the Most High, that as humans, our current state, we're not able to view it outrightly. And so again, we look at Yeshua speaking in John 17:1 and 2. He's saying, it's glorify your son so that your son might also esteem you or glorify you. Allow for your presence to be manifest in me so that those are able to look at me and see you. the people aren't looking at Yeshua and seeing the Most High. They're not seeing the glory. They're not seeing the reputation that's connected to the Most High. They're seeing this guy, this problem maker. They're not seeing the character of the Most High humanized in Yeshua. But there's something that's about to happen that Yeshua is asking for, that the actual character of the Most High be manifest, so that in him, so that the people may see it. And causing everyone, the world, to actually see and understand who Yeshua actually is. In verse 2, as you have given him, Yeshua, authority over all flesh, and you shall give everlasting life to all you whom you have given him. This is about having an understanding of who Yeshua is and his glory being revealed. And here we see Yeshua again in this prayer, from his physical state that he's in. He's in a concealed state. He's in a glory concealed state. Yeshua is. He's in a glory concealed state, and he's saying, the hour has now come for I'm to be in a glory revealed state.
Yes.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm a firm believer that the deity of Messiah is absolutely necessary. And I always say that he cannot somehow be elevated to messiahship. Like a human being cannot become at the level of the Most High and then become the bridegroom in Revelation.
Yeah.
And
there's
the
a ceiling.
that we have.
There's always a ceiling.
It's just it's just, to me, that's a greater leap of belief that a human being now becomes someone that I say in the name of anyone. That's idolatry. So, anyway.
And that is the thought process of some people. They say that Yeshua became Messiah. Specifically, the point was whenever he is baptized by John the Baptist and the Spirit comes down, they'll, if you say that Yeshua is Messiah and he became Messiah, you would say that that's when it happened, and he was elevated to deity status right there.
Yeah.
And so, but the language that he uses in terms of this idea of the Father, you glorify me. You allow for this character of the Most High to exist, that exists in you, allow that thing to exist in me, and then when it exists in me, people will see me and you will be glorified. The same thing he was saying to the disciples. If you've seen the Father, if you've seen me, you see the Father. He's causing people to look at him, but when they look at him, they'll be able to understand the Father even more. Why? Because he is a manifestation, a physical manifestation of the Father. And now he's explaining it in such a way where he's having us be able to understand that this is the case because he exists. He possesses the presence of the Father. And when you see him, you see one who has the presence of the Father. And you see that manifestation of the presence of the Father. And he is saying that the time has now come for this thing that, is kind of this, it's this mystery, it's this secret, it's this thing that's concealed. It's time for it to be revealed. And then if we go down, we read at verse 4. Go ahead.
That you know, in this month of Elul, you know, we always talk about how the king is in the field, and how the king is in the field, and just how you know, it's almost like the king coming down and he's like with the people, you know what I mean? And it's like when he comes down and he's with the people, you want to be right with him at that time so that he'll remember you when he's on his throne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll remember your issues, your concerns, you know. He'll have that in mind when he's making his rulings or whatever on the throne. And so I just think about that when I read these verses here, where this is kind of like the final hours that he's literally going to be in the field, you know, before he goes back to his throne.
I mean, it's basically behind him, though. At this point, it's basically behind him. He's speaking to the Father. There's not many more opportunities left. In fact, I'm saying that there isn't any more opportunities unless you're talking about people who see him literally on his way to die. He's basically done all that he is going to do physically,
Yes.
and he's got his disciples to a point of understanding, you know, to a degree, you know, who he is. And they're ready for what is about to happen next. And so when we look at verse 3, it's so interesting when he says, "This is everlasting life." This, he says, is that that they should know you. He's praying, again, the thing that causes you to be able to enter into everlasting life is the knowledge of you, the only true and loving Elohim, and Yeshua, Messiah, whom you have sent. Like, that's a whole sentence there. This is everlasting life, that you should know, that they should know you, the only true Elohim, and Yeshua, Messiah, whom you have sent. Why couldn't he just stop at the first part? Why couldn't he just stop at everlasting life is knowing that you are the true Elohim?
Because you can't know that without knowing the Messiah.
Amen.
You can't have one without the other.
Okay.
You can't know Yahweh without knowing Yeshua. You can't. You can't know the Father without knowing the one who came and showed us what the Father looks like.
I liken it to sports. Like, you know, the Steelers, for instance. Wouldn't nobody know the Steelers if they didn't have the players scoring the touchdowns and, you know what I'm saying, winning the Super Bowls. Wouldn't nobody care about the Steelers. Yeshua is the player. He's the ultimate player. You know what I'm saying? That's doing all of the work on the ground and pointing towards the Father.
Yes. He is the image of the invisible Elohim. And the disciples, again, are kind of at this point where they're starting to understand that point. That if they're able to know him, Messiah, if they're able to know Yeshua, it helps them to be able to know Yahweh. And so he's offering up this prayer to the Father on, again, his own behalf, because, as the physical parts, it's so interesting because, there was a time when I really only thought about, kind of one, maybe two instances where you're able to see kind of the physicalness of Yeshua. And I really kind of looked at, the time where he says, if this cup could pass from me, that little half of a sentence that he says, to me, I'm looking at that and seeing, his physicalness. But there's so many places, when you take a more kind of intensive look at the entirety of Yeshua and all the things that he says, when we see things, especially like this, where we have Yeshua petitioning for himself. He's literally operating and looking kind of how what the priest does on the Day of Atonement. The priest has to do kind of this introspective look at himself before he's able to go and make atonement for the people. He has to make a sacrifice for himself first. And then he's able to go and make a sacrifice for the people. And so Yeshua, we see Yeshua kind of working in this way and saying there is a manifestation that needs to be realized first. And then once that thing happens, now these other things are able to take place as a result. Once the people are able to look at Yeshua and see the Most High's glory through him, then the glory of the Most High is made known. And so he's saying, let that thing be manifest. I did all of these things in the earth, and I did the work that you have for me to do. Read again verse, read again verse 5 and 6 for us.
And now esteem me with yourself, Father, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. I have revealed your name to men whom you gave me out of the world. They were yours, and you gave them to me, and they have guarded your word.
Okay, so there's an interesting thing that's going on here. First of all, this idea of esteem, this idea of glory. We talked about what glory is. Yeshua talks about this idea of this glory being restored to him, which I had with you before the world was. So there's this idea of textual criticism. We have these books now with the Bible. We have these books of the Bible, and essentially what we have is a conglomeration of parts, because you have various books that were written, and you have these partial books. You have different languages. You have these various languages that we find them in, not even having a complete whatever book in one language. So you have these various languages. There's older ones, there's newer ones that they look at. So when we talk about textual criticism, you're talking about all of the different ways that a particular verse is able to be verified for what it's saying. And so when you think about this verse, which is a powerful verse for the idea of the pre-existence of Yeshua, some people will look and say, well, I find a text that says this, and so I'm able to discount that because there's a verse of a version of this verse that counteracts this verse. So this one's older, so I'll believe this one, even though it's kind of a obscure version. Manuscript, yes. And so, but when we look at this verse, this particular verse, there isn't a way to interpret this verse other than what is being said here. Is that there was a thing. We don't know what glory is. We can just call it a thing. There was a thing that Yeshua is requesting of the Father, and that thing was a thing that existed before other things existed. So it takes Yeshua outside of the moment in time that exists in terms of his years on this earth physically, and takes it before that. As a matter of fact, it takes it before anything else that was. He said, before the world was. And so people that want to take away, say for instance, the first few chapters of John, specifically the first chapter of John where it talks about, in the beginning was the Word was Elohim, and the Word was with Elohim. If they don't want that, if they want to take that out, I've seen people through textual criticism remove. I think the first 5 books they want to say of John are, there's are some added manuscripts. You can't make it all the way up to 17 and look at various manuscripts of John 17 verse 5 and get rid of this verse right here. This verse bears witness to anything else that John has ever said, including John chapter 1 and 1. And it makes the case for the pre-existence, the deity of Yeshua. Not that he becomes a deity, not that he rose to a particular status based on his obedience, but that there was a state that he existed in that predates his physical walking around. In fact, it predates anything. And so this entire time here, Yeshua is talking about this glory, this representation, this presence that exists in the Father, this presence that he is saying he wants to be renewed and restored within him. And in verse 6, he's revealing, he's using now, it's not talking about glory anymore. Now I have revealed your name. But the interesting thing is that when you talk about name, you also have another kind of way to describe one's reputation or one's glory or one's honor. And so when he's talking about this idea of revealing your name to the men whom you gave me out of the world, you couldn't replace that with glory, presence, honor, kavod, all of these things.
Yep.
But he's saying it here in another way, right? He has made this revelation to his disciples. He's caused them to know and understand a particular thing about himself, which is something that helps to move this whole thing forward. Let's look at verse 6 and this word here, name. What's that say there in the Greek? I have revealed your name. I have manifested thy name. What's that word mean? Literally a name, authority, character, name. Right? And so that is kind of the same idea that we see when we look at the Hebrew. Go to the Strong's, look up Hebrew H8034. Shame. Right? That word there is what? Honor, authority, character. Name. Renown. Right? These things are similar to honor, which is what we talked about. Right? And so Yeshua has made these things known to his disciples. And this thing that he makes known to his disciples is a thing that's going to carry them through. And also, a thing that people want to try to do is make name not mean the actual name. And want to say this simply means character, the renown. Just the things that are associated with the name, but not necessarily the name. I want to say that is false. It's not right. It's all inclusive. It's all of it. It's the name, and it's everything that got to do with it. Mm-hmm. And so they say, it's not important that you know what the actual name is. I know what authority and character goes with it. I'm saying that it's all inclusive. It's all of it. It's not just the name. It's the name and everything that goes with it, which is the authority, which is the renown, which is the honor, the glory, all of it. It's all inclusive. It's not like it's one thing and not the other. It's all of those things. And so people say, it's just, I know that the Lord really, I know what it means. I know all of that. Well, how do you?
So if you start changing the name, is that kind of like dim down that
yes,
that?
It's watered down. Mm-hmm. You might have some of the same ingredients in it, but it's watered down. Mm-hmm. Like you can give me 100% grape juice, or you can pour water in it and it turns into grape drink. Do you got all of this stuff in there? Yeah, but it's watered down. Mm-hmm. It don't hold the same potency and strength. And so when he says, I have revealed your name to the men, it means the actual name, and it also means all of the things that go along with it, because he's talking about this idea of glory being revealed anyway. Mm-hmm. But now he's saying it in this other way. Like, this is the way that these things are being revealed to his disciples is I'm leaving these things back with him. This honor, this glory, this renown, these characteristics, I'm leaving them behind. You gave me these people. We've taken them out of the world. They're yours, You gave them to me. They're yours. They're mine. And they have guarded your word. He's saying these other things. Word now. He brought word into it. But if we talk about your word, Yeshua talking to the Father saying your word, his word is the character of the Most High. It's the same thing as his word is his honor. It is his authority. It is his character, his characteristics.
And the key is your word. Because a lot of people say, oh, like, yeah, the Old Testament.
Some other thing.
That's something different. We follow Yeshua's word.
He don't have no word that he speaks of his own self. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
And the thing that he gave to his disciples is the Father's word. The words which you gave me, I gave to them. That's what he said. Okay, so we see that now Yeshua continues on. He said, here, read again verses 9 and 10.
John chapter 9 and 10. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, but for those whom you have given me, for they are yours. And all mine are yours, and yours are mine. And I have been esteemed in them.
This is interesting because how did he even get to them without them first being called out of the world? They was once in the world, but he said he didn't pray for the world, but he prayed for them. I think this is important because when you think about the idea of the world and him not praying for the world, but he called them out of the world. He didn't come to save the world. He came to save his people that was in the world.
I was just thinking about something the other day, right? How, Yeshua told us to pray for our enemies, right? Pray for those that hate you. But is he telling us to pray for wicked people? People who are literally murdering and, doing all of these evil things, like praying for the government and whatnot, who is committing all these wicked acts. Now, when I said to somebody, they asked me, tell you to pray for them. I said, yes, I'm praying for them. I'm praying that they be overthrown by him, that his kingdom comes. That's my prayer. My prayer is that these wicked people get justice.
Yes. And I think it's interesting because, again, when he says, I pray for them, he's praying for those that at some point was actually in the world.
Right.
So I need for you either to come out of the world, either come out from among the world and no longer be part of the world, because the world, there's no redeeming qualities there. But do you have to be removed from that to be included in these things that are mine and that are yours, as far as what Yeshua is saying over here? And so we need when we talk about his kingdom coming, is those that are over there, for them to stop being over there and for them to come over to here. That system, that state of existence, those thought processes, those things that exist over there, they're gonna be over there. I need for you to leave over there and come over there. Look at Matthew, the tax collector. The tax collectors was the worst types of people. And so Yeshua calls out to Matthew while he's over there, and he comes over out from over there. And so, you know, we call out into the world, and those people that's his sheep hear his voice. We call out to his sheep that's over there, and so they could leave over there and come over into here. Because he said his sheep, my sheep, hear my voice. They will know when they hear that call that they're able to turn and leave from over there. Because again, his disciples at one point was over there.
Right.
And so there's kind of like this fine line when you think about this idea of the world, because his people are over there.
Right. But we ain't praying for those goats over there.
We praying for the sheep that don't know that they sheep
Right.
to hear the voice and come out from over
Right.
there.
Amen.
All right, let's go down, because I want to also talk about, I want to go down to 13 or something. Well, first of all, I want to read 12 and 13, because there's some interesting things that he says in 12 and 13.
John chapter 17, verse 12. When I was with them in the world, I was guarding them in your name, which you have given me. And I watched over them, and not one of them perished except the son of destruction, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And I now come to you, and I speak these words in the world, so that they have my joy completed in them.
He says something interesting about Judas here. He said, I watched over them, which is his disciples, and not one of them perished. Past tense. Right? Verse 12, perished. How do we know, how can we find out if that word in the Greek is past tense? We need our Greek scholars.
You
Oh,
need to go to the Bible Hub interlinear.
does it tell
tells
you?
what the tense is.
Go to that. I want to see the tense of not one of them perished.
Go to the
Hub.
Bible Hub. Not this in here, the Bible Hub.
Because it's an interesting thing that he's saying, because he said not one of them perished, but the son of destruction perished already. But he didn't do the thing yet. He just put all of the things in place in order for the thing to be done, but he didn't do it yet at this point. Right?
I know, and he's speaking like
He's done already.
he's done. Like,
None of you have perished except for the one of destruction. He's perished. But the actual thing didn't happen yet. He didn't go through it all. Like at some point he could theoretically just be like, man, I ain't doing this.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, right there. What's that? Do it say what's that VA? What is that? Tense. Tense mood voice. What's it saying? Oh, it's V.
It was like VAS. Can you go back to that again?
We gotta see what them things is. VAIM third singular. Third person singular.
What's AI?
What's AIM? Go back over to the other thing. Click on that.
It's indicative middle.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
AIM. It's a verb. It's a interjection. Middle.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's middle.
you get in the middle.
I don't know what the difference between middle and active is. Because if it's active, it's active. It's right now.
happening right now.
And if it's middle, I feel like it's in the middle. It's in the midst of it happening.
Like,
Huh? Go ahead.
like it's like it like just happened to it's happening, but like not right.
I'm saying if it's middle is beyond now. It's beyond now, which is not all the way to past,
Right.
but it's
happening.
it's a little bit past the present though.
Right. Right.
So I guess it's at the point of no return, basically.
We're in the middle of it happening.
Which he's probably on his way over there or on his way back.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it says. Indicative
It's
middle,
happening now.
the subject performing action on or for itself, such as I wash myself. Like it's right.
It's right now or it happened already. If I washed myself, I washed already.
Washing.
Like I wash myself.
Oh, I washed myself.
I wash myself.
Yeah.
That means it's happening.
Yeah, I would say that as I'm doing it.
I mean, you could wash yourself and still be in the shower.
Generally
You can still
speaking, I can say I
ain't
washed
got out
myself.
the shower yet. I just washed myself without stepping out the shower.
Wash. Performing the action upon
I think the point here is the fact that a thing that we don't see physically all the way happen, Yeshua's counting it as it's all the way happen. Both for his 11 disciples that are there and for the one that isn't there. Right? So they now are unperished. At the same time as while he is perished. Before anything is physically manifest. Which I think is interesting. But not only that though, but verse 13, when he talks about, he said, and I speak these words in the world so that they have, his disciples, my joy completed in them. My joy completed in them. We talked a little bit about this last week, but the joy is the Spirit. The joy being completed in them is the Spirit of holiness. The unity and the result of the presence. He's given them the word. He's given them the name. He's explained to them his glory. And if they're able to maintain this faith in him, which he's basically saying that they will, because the one is destroyed and none of them are going to be destroyed. So he's basically saying that they will get to the end result and the joy is going to be completed in them. Which is that unity that exists between him and the Father. That same unity is going to exist between them and the Father. The result of the unity and the presence of the Most High, which is the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. Go over to Acts chapter 2. Go over to Acts chapter 2. 25 through 28. I want to talk about the joy. My joy completed. What Yeshua is saying as my joy completed. I'm saying it's the Ruach HaKodesh. It's the presence of the Most High in you and the manifestation of that. Look at Acts 2:25 through 28. What's that say?
Acts chapter 2, verse 25. For David says concerning him, I saw Yahweh before me continually, because he is at my right hand, in order that I should not be shaken. For this reason my heart rejoiced, and my tongue was glad, and now my flesh shall also rest in expectation. Because you shall not leave my being in Sheol, nor you give your lovingly committed one to see corruption. You have made known to me the ways of life. You shall fill me with joy in your presence.
David, first of all, David is able to understand this idea of experiencing the presence of the Most High. And these are some things, some ways that he's able to kind of articulate that as an idea. Where I saw Yahweh before me always. Because he was my strength. He said he was at my right hand. He was my strength. He was the thing. Yahweh is what gets me through. The way that I'm not shaken by nothing is because I see Yahweh before me continually. These is David's words. That Peter is saying, though. Peter's saying these things, but he's saying what David had already said. And because I see Yahweh before me continually, and I'm not shaken by nothing, this is the reason that my heart is able to rejoice. My tongue is glad. And now my flesh shall also rest in expectation. So there's a thing that I know is coming. I know this thing is coming. It's not here yet, but I know that it's coming. And I'm able to respond as if it happened already now. And rejoice in that and be glad in that right now. Even in just only I'm able to rest in the expectation. I'm able to rest in the thing that isn't necessarily now, but I know it's coming. He said that because you shall not leave me in the grave. Like I know what you won't do. And I can be happy about that now. Because I know what you won't do, you won't leave me in the grave. I can be happy in that now and rest in that expectation. Peter's bringing this up in the context of faith and trusting in Yeshua, who is the Messiah, who is about to cause those that believe in him to experience his presence through his Ruach HaKodesh. That there's joy in his presence. There's joy in understanding who Yeshua is. Yeshua back in John is saying that he is speaking to his disciples and praying for them that his joy is completed in them, which is the manifestation of the Spirit in them. Them continuing in faith, them continuing in trust, and them experiencing the fulfillment of it in spite of what is physically going on in their situations. Let's look at Hebrews 12:2. We're going to just say a couple more things here. But Yeshua is praying for his disciples that they are able, that because he's already pronounced the fact that they're not going to be destroyed. But he's speaking these things to the Most High in the context of a prayer, but he's also in some degree, rejoicing about a thing that's already taken place. All right, let's look at Hebrews 12 and 2.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Looking to the Prince and Perfecter of our belief, Yeshua, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the stake, having despised the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
Okay, so irregardless of the shame that is associated with the torture stake. There's a shame that's associated with the torture stake in this week's Torah portion. It talks about not leaving the person who's on a tree to hang on a tree overnight, because there's shame associated with the idea of it, and it's unbelievably shameful for them to even be hung on a tree. So don't let them be hung overnight. There's shame that's intrinsically associated with hanging on a tree. Despite that, it said there is joy that was set before him to endure through that. Yeshua, knowing what was in front of him, it said, who for the joy, for the purposes of joy, for the purposes of this expectation that was ahead of him, he endured through this thing. And he's praying that this joy be completed in the disciples, that they're able to, in the face of all of the things that are going to come before them, bad situations and circumstances, in spite of those things, that they're going to experience the completeness of joy, because they're going to have the presence of the Most High with them. Yeshua wants for his disciples to have this completeness of joy, the Spirit inside of them, which causes them to be able to endure uncomfortableness, things that are bad that happen to them. I don't care what your situation is, it's not worse than this. And so Yeshua, who for the joy, Yeshua for the manifestation of the character of the Most High being brought to its fullness, for that he endured the most shameful thing that he could endure physically. Let's look at Deuteronomy 28, 47 and 48. Because I'm talking about the joy, my joy completed. Yeshua is saying he's praying for his disciples and his joy to be completed. Yeshua himself, in a state of joy, entered into a shame, intentionally uncomfortable, to say the least, circumstances with joy, because he is the epitome of the Spirit-filled individual, the person manifesting the character of the Most High. Look at Deuteronomy 28, read 47 and 48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, 47, 48. Because you did not serve Yahweh your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty You shall serve your enemies, whom Yahweh sends against you in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and the need of all. And he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you.
He said, because you do not serve with joy, I'm going to put a curse on you. You're cursed because you can't serve me with joy. From whatever it is that I've already given you. I've given you whatever I gave you. Be joyful in that. Yeshua was he said for the joy he was able to endure the most horrendous thing known to man. For the joy, which is the fullness of his spirit in us. In Deuteronomy 28, it's saying, because you didn't serve with joy for all the things that Yahweh provides for you, whatever those things are, whatever it is that he provides for you, if you're not serving in joy, he has a curse waiting for you, it says. That's what he said. Okay, but when we go back to John chapter 17, we're talking about this joy completed in them. We're talking about the spirit inside of you. This is what he's talking about. This is what he's been talking about for the last few chapters. And so the complete manifestation of this is dealing with the idea of the spirit that's about to come. And it's about to be inside of his disciples. And we see Peter when he's giving his sermon to the people. Is the thing that he goes back to is David and his faith in the Most High and experiencing the presence of the Most High. And so when we look at this, which kind of just closing down here, and we look at Yeshua in his prayer for himself, for his disciples, for those that will believe in what the disciples say, those that believe in what the disciples say will be those that have heard the words of the disciples, which is the words of Yeshua, which is the words of the Most High. And through hearing those words, they have faith, and then they receive the Spirit, the presence, the name, the renown of the Most High in them. When he talks about down in verse, let's end with verse 22. Read again verse 22 and 23.
And the esteem which you gave me, I have given them, so that they might be one as we are one. I and them, you and me, so that they might be perfected into one, so that the world knows that you have sent me and have loved them as you have loved me.
This is kind of the point of the matter. At the beginning, he starts talking about the glory being restored in him, but the glory really is just the presence of the Most High. There's him in the physical form. He took off some of the presence, right? And he put on this carnal flesh. But he doing that, and as he returns back to the Father, as he returns back to his original state, seeks for his disciples to receive his presence to a degree like unto the presence that he had before the world was. And then, but not only that, but that day the disciples speak the words that he spoke to them, and that they then speak to the people, which causes us, to receive that spirit too, and be perfected as one, as the Father and Yeshua are one. And so we see here again, Yeshua, as he prays this prayer to the Father, at the end of the day, dealing with the Spirit of the Most High coming and dwelling in the people, fortifying the kingdom of Elohim. All right. Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments about any of these things here? Okay. All right. That being said, we want to remember soon coming. Soon coming. We have here. Put up that flyer I have there on the screen. Put it up there so it can be on. Yes,
Then it should be on
you can put it on that and put that on. Or you can put it on both things too. Just click on that. So we have soon coming our fall holy day celebrations. The Day of Trumpets will have our holy convocation on Wednesday, September 24th at Lakeshore Pavilion, North Park. We've never been to this place, have we? Lakeshore Pavilion, North Park, Lakeshore Drive, Wexford, PA. That's where we'll be at on the Day of Trumpets, Yom Teruah. On the previous night, we'll go up to our local viewing spot to see the first visible crescent, the moon. And then 10 days later, we'll have Yom Kippur right here. That'll be Friday, October the 3rd, starting at 1 o'clock. Then 5 days after that, we'll be at Sukkot, celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles. So there's our fall feast calendar for up and coming days. If you're in town, you'll see us on Trumpets and Atonement, and Feast of Tabernacles will be out of town. So if you know, you know about that retreat. Okay, so for now, we'll say that we'll be back, Yah willing, on next Shabbat to continue with our look at the Torah portion as well as the words of the Master. But for now, we'll say
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.